Assalamualaikum. Hi everyone. This is Madam June. Today I'm going to discuss about taking effective notes. First off, what is meant by note-taking? Note-taking means writing down ideas from lectures and readings in our own words. Note-taking isn't simply about jotting down everything that you hear or read. It is about summarizing core concepts as precisely as possible in your own words. Next, why should students take notes? First, to save and record information. One of the most important purposes of taking notes is to save and recorded information so that it can be reviewed and studied at a later time. Second, to better understand main concepts. Actively taking notes during class can help you focus during the lecture and better understand main concepts. Third, improve active listening. In many classes, you may be asked to watch an instructional videos before a class discussion. Good note-taking will improve your active listening and comprehension of material. Fourth, to better remember information. Taking notes on both synchronous and asynchronous material will help you remember what you hear and see. And fifth, easy to review the subject matter before quiz, test, or exam. After class, good notes are crucial for reviewing and studying class material so that you can appropriately prepare for exams. Next, what should you do before class? Here are some tips you can take to improve your note-taking before class even begins. Number 1, preview your text or reading assignment prior to lecture. Previewing allows you to identify main ideas and concepts that will most likely to be discussed during the lecture. Number 2, look at your course syllabus so that you know the topic to be discussed and what's going to be important to focus on. Third, briefly review notes from previous class session to help you relate with the new topic you learned in class. Number 4, keep organized to help you find information more easily later. Title your page with the topic and date. It's better that you keep separate notebooks for each class. Next, during class. What can you do to take good notes while listening to a lecture in class? Here are some practical steps you can try to improve your note-taking during class. Number 1, focus on the main points the lecturer makes rather than copying down every word the lecturer says. Remember, if you review your notes after class, you can always fill in any gaps or concepts you didn't catch in class. Number 2, record questions and thoughts you have that you want to follow up later or ask your lecturer about. Number 3, jot down keywords, important names, date, and so on that you can then go back and define later. Number 4, take visually clear, concise, organized, and structured notes so that they are easy to read and understand later. Number 5, if you want your notes to be concise and brief, use abbreviations and symbols. Number 6, write in bullets and phrases instead of complete sentences. And number 7, leave spaces between the lines so that you can add information later. Next, how to identify the main points of a lecture. You may be asking yourself how you can identify the main points of a lecture. Here are some tips for recognizing the most important points in a lecture. Number 1, introductory remarks often include summaries of overviews of main points. Number 2, listen for signal words like there are 4 main or a major reason why or to sum up. Number 3, repeated words or concepts are often important. Number 4, non-verbal cues like pointing, gestures, or a vocal emphasis on certain words. Number 5, final remarks often provides a summary of the important points of the lecture. And number 6, consider watching online lectures in real time. Watching a lecture for the first time without pausing or rewinding can help force you to focus on what's important enough to write down. Next, there is a number of methods that can be used to take notes. Here are a few types of methods that you may want to experiment with. Number 1 is the outline method. Number 2, Cornell method. Number 3, charting method. Number 4, mapping method. And the last one is the sentence method. First, let's have a look at the outline method. Alright, outline method requires you to structure your notes in form of an outline by using bullet points to represent different topics and their subtopics. Okay, start with high-level heading for all the main points in the lecture and add subtopics and supporting facts underneath. Okay, each new level of details gets slightly indented to the right. Okay, this method works best if the lecture follows a relatively clear structure. Next, let's go to Cornell method. Okay, for this method, the page is divided into 4 sections starting from one row at the top for the title and date and one at the bottom along with 2 columns in the center. Okay, all notes from the class go into the main note-taking column. The smaller column on the left is for comments, questions, or hints about the actual notes. Okay, after the lecture, you should take a moment to summarize the main ideas of the page in the section at the bottom. Next is the charting method. This method is ideal for notes that involve a lot of information in the form of facts. The information will be organized in several columns, similar to a table or spreadsheet. Okay, this method comes in handy with information that can be broken down into categories like pros and cons, similarities, and differences. Using this method, information is clearly structured and easily comparable. Next, let's have a look at the mapping method. Okay, this method helps organize your notes by dividing them into branches, enabling you to establish relationships between the topics. Okay, a mapping method starts at the top of the page or at the center with the core concept or main topic. The subtopics or ideas branch out from there. This method works best when the lecture content is heavy and you need to organize it in a structured and easy form. And the last one is the sentence method. Okay, sentence method is about simply writing down each topic as a jot note sentence. The idea is to simply write down everything your lecturer says. You can use shorthands as long as you can remember what you meant by your abbreviations. You can also use numbers and bullets to separate your points. This method works well for fast-paced lessons where a lot of information is being covered. Well, which method is right for you? Now that you have learned 5 different ways to take notes, which one is right for you? Well, it depends on what type of learner you are. A method that you find useful might not work for others. Different classes and subjects matter may require different note-taking styles. So try a couple of techniques and see which one works best for you. Next, handwritten or digital? You may be wondering, should you take notes using your laptops or computer, or write them up by hand. Research suggests that handwriting notes can help students learn better than digital notes. According to several studies, laptops are less effective than longhand as there is always a temptation for distraction. However, it is faster, easier to edit, and take higher volume of notes. Next, what should you do after class? Part of good note-taking includes revisiting or reviewing your notes after class. Okay, during this time, check for clarity. Okay, fill in definition of key terms, organize and figure out any concepts you may have missed or not fully understand in class. If your lecture is recorded, you may be able to take advantage of the captions to review. Well, we have come to the end of the lecture. Keep in mind that note-taking is a skill that gets better with practice, but there are tons of benefits that you can gain from it. As a conclusion, taking good notes provides an organized framework of your class material, deepen your understanding of information that you're learning, and makes it easy to review the subject matter before exam. Thank you guys for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. These are the references that I'm using.